In this video, I want to talk about 4 ways in which business owners think differently to everyone else. And the reason this is important is because whether you have a business already or you're thinking about starting a business, the way in which you need to think is very different to how most people think. And it's something that's not taught anywhere. I had to figure this stuff out on my own. And after working with thousands of clients and helping them grow their business, I've noticed that these things come up over and over again. And so I want to talk about 4 different areas that a business owner or aspiring business owner needs to retrain their brain if they want to be successful. The first is in relation to self-doubt and certainty. You see, as kids in school, we're taught that there is a right and wrong. If we take a test, there's a right answer and a wrong answer. And even as an employee, there's a right way to do something and the wrong way to do something. It's black and white. And so as a business owner, it's common that we have uncertainty or doubt around decisions we're making or what we're doing because we want to make sure that we're right. But the problem is, in business, you can't be right. There is no right. Right doesn't exist. The best you can do is be less wrong. To explain what I mean, every business ever has the goal of having a product that's so good that they don't need to advertise it, they don't need to market it sells itself and everyone wants it. There's not a single business that exists or has ever existed that has achieved that goal. And so even the best businesses in the world haven't got it right. They don't know how to make a product so good that everyone wants it. And that product may not even exist. And so we can't get it right. There is no right. And so having self-doubt about a certain thing implies that you think you might be right and you're not sure, but you're not right and you never will be right. And so self-doubt is something that you can eliminate. I mean, the entire concept of focusing on growing a business implies that it needs focus to grow. You don't need to focus on growing a tree, the tree just grows. Granted, it's had 430 million years of evolution to figure it out, but the point is, business is not high school. There is no right. There's only wrong and less wrong. Kind of like that game you play as a kid, where you'd say hotter or colder when someone gets closer, except in business, you can only get hotter. You don't actually find it. And a good comparison of this is science. I know, science, right? You see, in science, nothing is ever right. We have theories which try to describe something, but a theory is never set forever. It's never labeled as true. It's just less wrong than the last theory. And the best theories, things like gravity or Einstein's theory of general relativity, they're good theories because they haven't yet been proven wrong. But every day, thousands of people are working to try to prove them wrong. And when they do, it's celebrated because that's how we get better theories. And business is similar. If you're delaying a decision because you want to be right, well, you're not going to be right. No one's right. It's impossible to be right. But you can be less wrong. And the way you become less wrong is by making the decision and learning and testing. And what you find is the best businesses are constantly testing new things and most of them don't work. And that's okay, because that's how you learn. And if you really think about it, nothing has it right. Even life itself. I mean, think about it. Life has spent 3.7 billion years trying to figure out how to live. And yet, no organism alive has figured out how to live forever. And so if life hasn't gotten it right in 3.7 billion years, what hope do you have? And I don't say that to make you feel bad. You should feel good, because the thing that you're worried about getting right, it won't be right. So don't worry about it. Just give it a go and see if it's less wrong than what you're doing at the moment. The second area is in regards to problems. You see, we're taught very often to avoid problems and that problems are bad. But in business and in life, problems are how we grow. Problems create resistance, and it's that resistance that helps us improve. Think about if you went to the gym to lift a weight. If there's not enough resistance there, your muscle won't grow. It requires the resistance to improve. And so in business, often we try to avoid problems, and when we have a problem, we think something's wrong. When in reality, that's our opportunity to grow and improve and get better. And the thing is, there's always a bigger problem. There's always a bigger mountain to climb. Problems never go away. But as you progress from smaller to bigger problems, the things that you thought were tough in the past no longer become difficult. They become easy because you've leveled up. You've gotten to that next level because of the resistance. And so in business, there will be problems, but you want to embrace them. You want to enjoy them. To give you an example, about 12 months ago, I went through a period in my business where there was a lot of resistance. I basically had to fire and then rehire my entire team. And because of that, there was about 4 or 5 months there where we were losing money, quite a lot of money, every single month. And the whole time, although I didn't enjoy it, I was excited by it because it was hard, but I knew that by getting through that, I would be better. And I learned more in those 4 to 5 months than I did in the 12 months before that. And so when you face resistance, don't look at it as a bad thing. Look at it as the tuition to get to that next level. The third area is in regards to time and focus. As an employee, you're told what to do, and you don't need to question whether or not that thing you've been told is actually the best thing to be doing. But in business, there's always a better thing that you could be doing. And these things don't operate in isolation. Something may seem like a good use of your time, but if there's something better that you could be doing that thing's taking you from, then that thing's a bad use of your time. And so with every decision, you want to consider the opportunity cost of, by doing this, what am I not doing? A good example of this would be investing in your business. As a business owner, when you look at investments, you need to consider not just the cost, but the cost of not investing. And this is not what we're taught. For example, if you went to a shop to buy a shirt and the shirt was $100, all you're considering is, do I want to spend that? You don't really need to think about what happens if I don't spend this? What am I losing? But in business, that's not the case. Let's say you had a business selling apples, and every day that business makes you $1,000. And you're trying to decide if you should invest in a machine to make apple juice that costs $5,000. Just thinking, do I want to spend that, is not enough. Because while there is a cost to buy it, there's also a cost to not buy it. Let's say that if you bought that machine and started selling apple juice, you could increase sales from $1,000 a day to $2,000 a day. In that example, the cost of the machine is $5,000, but the cost of not buying that machine is $1,000 every day, or over $350,000 a year. And so the real cost is not buying the machine. And these are the types of things you need to consider as a business owner, not just the cost of doing something, but the cost of not doing it. The fourth area comes down to responsibility. In life, it's very common that people want to avoid responsibility or blame, because as a kid or in school, if you were blamed for something, you'd likely get in trouble. And so we view taking responsibility as something that's bad and should be avoided. But that attitude doesn't work in business. In business, you need to look at everything as your fault. You need to take responsibility for every single part of your business, even if it doesn't directly involve you. Let's say you have a customer support team and one of them sent an inappropriate email to a customer. You didn't send the email, but that's still your fault and responsibility because you hired them and trained them. And the thing about responsibility is that you can only make something better if you take responsibility. If you don't take responsibility, if you don't take blame, you can't fix it because it wasn't you. And so although taking responsibility may seem like a scary thing, it's actually the best thing to do because it means you have control over everything. Nothing is out of your control because everything is your fault. And so there are 4 areas that business owners think differently to other people. If you enjoyed this, let me know. I have other areas I could cover, but these are 4 of the most common things that I see come up over and over again for new and established business owners. If you enjoyed this, be sure to leave a comment and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos like this soon.